Nice to meet everyone here. Thank you for your time. Let me give a brief introduction about myself first. My name is Steven Jiang. First of all, a very proud husband and father. And you see there's a picture, and this is the Spider-Man in my house. Every day when back home from school, I am the Spider-Man, you are the bad guy, I catch you. So very cute, and he gives me a lot of energy every day. And of course, a lot of label, right? People usually will use as a CEO and co-founder of hireEZ. I'm very lucky to work with hundreds of very dedicated people and to serve thousands of customers globally. And my background was a software engineer, and even still today, I am very active in defining our product roadmap. So I call myself as a product manager. So I very enjoy conversations with our customers and users, and to learn from them about how to define and how to design our product. And sometimes you probably can also chat with me through our post-sales channels. And I am doing a user support, okay, being a support person behind. And that's one of my favorite things to do. Of course, I learn a lot, so as a learner of recruiting. So that's something about me. But let me tell you a story. When I got this task from our marketing team, from Shannon and Kumar, and they say, hey, Steven, you will speak for a session at HR Tech. I thought they must be joking, okay? So first of all, Shannon Pritchett and in my marketing team, and she's heading of marketing, and also she's the best speaker, in my opinion, okay, to the community. How come? That can be me. And also, I mean, English is my third language, right? And very often people always say, pardon? Can you say that again? So I hope you won't say that today. So, and then Kumar said, you can do it, okay? So that's absolutely revenge, because when I gave the aggressive deadline, I always say, you can do it. So I take this task, then I thought about, okay, so this is about candidate engagement. So, and the engagement is about how to interact with others and how to talk with others. Then I want to share something about my personal experience and also the professional experience and how I learned different languages and went from a different country with a different background, and how I step by step and learn how to engage with a very diverse group of people. I was born in a very small village in China, south of China, and my first language is Hakka. So for the first 9 years, I spoke Hakka only, not Mandarin. Okay, Mandarin is my second language. So in a very small village, and I think that people engagement over there was fantastic. Every gossip was a big story. Okay, and after dinner, and people sat on the big stone and start to, talk about. I think that's gossip. Okay, so a lot of the secret talks, small talks, and the engagement was great. So people know how to engage with each other and with the local language. Okay, so that was my childhood. Fantastic. So you want to experience? What is a Hakka? Okay, so ready.
大家好，我係 Steven 講，今集大家來聽hireEZ 講飛行。
So some of you may feel confused, right? And this is exactly this script, okay? So I made an introduction about myself. Okay, so you're at a right session, okay? We are talking about engagement, but this is a Hakka. So, and the first 9 years, I spoke Hakka, and then I went to a lot of elementary school and to start to learn Mandarin. So, and just give you a very quick background information, right? So this is a small area, and that area, Hakka, most likely is the first language to a lot of people, okay? And this was me. So I think I was born to be CEO. Look at the shoe I got, okay? And my parents, and they bought the very lengthy the shoe for me so that I can wear for 3 to 5 years. And I was born in a very poor family, so and my parents, they were the best investor, okay? So they should teach the VC partners on how to long-term invest. So I wore this shoe for I think more than 3 years, and then finally, right, it was a perfect fit. Alright, so that was me, and then I was enforced by my parents to go to a lot of school in a bigger village, okay, a small town, to continue my elementary school and then also start to learn English in middle school. So, and you don't think that is not an easy thing, let me tell you this, because I need to walk in the mountains from the top, on the bottom, all the way to the top, okay, in the mountains. So I took English classes, right, in the high school, but don't think I spoke English, no, never. So English was exactly just like math to me, okay? I was perfect at an exam, full score, but I cannot speak at all, okay? So, and because of this speaking, the English speaking, I made some troubles, and at a certain point, that became a big joke in the workplace. I worked for Samsung, and so this is the email I sent to the VP of engineering. Okay, read it. He had a conversation with me, and then I said, oh, okay, so I should send a thank you letter. Okay, so his name is Pony. Okay, you definitely can looking up on this thing or any other social. And I thought, okay, so he must be happy. I was so polite. And then he came to my cube. Steven, something wrong. You got to delete this email. Okay, I was confused, and then I googled holy massage. And he said, I didn't give you any special service. So, special massage. I suppose you say message, okay? And that became the biggest joke for the whole 6 months. So this is a lot of fun stories, and offline I can share with you. And if you look at my experience, and the engagement barrier is about language barrier. But then let's look at recruiters barrier. Okay. Oh, before that, let me share something I'm very proud of. So after years, I am so lucky to work with so many people. So I learned a lot of things about how to talk with people and engage with my employees, and I want to make sure that everyone can be heard and they feel they are cared. Okay. So I learned a lot. So the candidate engagement and the people engagement became a big thing in my part of my life. Right, but back to the barrier. My barrier was all about the language barrier, in my opinion. But then what happened to recruiting? What's a recruiter's barrier? And we conducted a very extensive survey earlier this year. 73% of recruiters have been ghosted by candidates. But complaints are always two-way street, okay? On the other hand, on the other side, 63% of candidates also complained that they didn't get a sufficient engagement, okay? So, and then let's see what recruiters and the talent acquisition teams' reaction to this problem. This is the solution. And 60% of the companies have an increased investment into technology, right? And people use more than 10 solutions. This is a very, very similar stories to Bobby Off. And you might say, hey, as a founder and CEO for a tech company, this is a good news, great news to you, and you are going to make a lot of money. Before that, I want to share, this is a quote, okay? I strongly believe that before we figured out how to do things right, let's be cautious about technology, because the digital transformation will simply magnify those flaws. Okay, so now we are facing this problem, okay? That's fine. Calm down and let's figure out what exactly engagement means. Okay, what do you mean? Engage, okay? So engage, by the way, this is a very special term, okay? But with a very high standard. And we look at the information about communication versus engagement, right? And very often, people misunderstood these two terms. So let me give you a simple example. You won't say, hey, this candidate has been communicated. You always say this candidate has been engaged, right? Why? Because based on the definition, by the way, we look at the information from Indeed. Communication is more about the broadcasting the information, okay, and to a large audience, okay, and so it can appear to a wide audience. So it's more about one way. But then, on the other hand, engagement, it's more about meaningful interactions, and it requires the participation from both sides, the speaker and also the listener. It's more connected. So that's why we say engaged instead of this candidate is being communicated. Right. So this is the definition of communication and engagement. But then we also figured out there is a chasm between what recruiters want and what recruiters should have. In a LinkedIn survey, just this year, okay, earlier this year, the top desired soft skill for recruiters over the next 5 years, they say communication. But then what recruiters really need to make experience different is engagement. That is a chasm. Okay, so now let's talk about solution and how to build candidate engagement. Before I explain how I think and how our team think, so I want to hear something from the audience. Okay, so Shannon from my team, and she spoke to a large group of people at RecFest 2 weeks ago, right? So, and you talk about a candidate engagement. So, would you like to share something?
Yeah, it was a really interesting presentation, and when we looked at the fundamental shift of recruiter behavior. I lead marketing at hireEZ, but I actually study recruiter behavior because I was one for 10 years. And so, interesting career shift. But what I found was that there's a fundamental desire for recruiters to get away from the speed and the necessity to quickly find and identify talent and shift more towards the engagement side of things. And the passion and the desire right now is coming from the STEM that recruiters are having a difficult time engaging with candidates, right? How do you stand out? How do you make yourself look different in a very crowded, very busy inbox, right? I think recruiters have been so reliant on a particular tool, like let's say LinkedIn Recruiter, right? Where every single email looks exactly the same. Okay, no, be honest, let me ask you a question. How many of you begin your emails with, I hope this finds you well? Now raise your hand if that email has actually ever found you well. Yeah, I mean, I get angry and I delete those right away, right? And so I actually had someone test me and look up to see if I've ever used that, and it's correct, I haven't. I used to work with Jerry Crispin at Career Crossroads, and we hired Glenn Cathy to come in and do a session for us where we took 75 different large corporations, all enterprise companies, and we had them copy and paste their last communication with a candidate. The first 3 sentences from 75 different companies, 75 different positions, were all exactly the same. Now, if you lead TA or HR, how many of you have actually looked at the emails that your team sends? Right? Recruiters don't know how to effectively send an email because we've never held them accountable to it. And I never knew how to do that either. I was the worst copy and paste, screw up the first name. I mean, I was a recruiter a long time ago, right? You can't tell because of Botox, but I've been in this industry for a very long time. But one thing that we're seeing is that recruiters need to shift and embrace the skills of an email marketer as opposed to what we saw before with the need to quickly find and identify talent. And that's the new age of communication and the new age of engagement. So it's no longer how fast we can find a candidate, it's about how quickly we can get them to respond and have that conversation with us. And that was one of the key findings from the RecFest conference.
Thank you, Shannon. So now you know why I say Shannon should speak, right? So come on, that's your boss. Okay. All right, thank you. So I think what Shannon mentioned is very clear. So there is a lack of a playbook for the candidate engagement. And that's the first piece we are missing in the industry, okay? So from the CEO to the recruiter, I think every company needs a centralized playbook for the candidate engagement. So how to do it effectively, okay? More specifically, this playbook should cover 3 things, 3 essential parts, okay? First, value of engagement. We got to tell talent acquisition professionals the big why engagement matters. Okay, so the technology and also the product won't help that much if the organization doesn't value the engagement or didn't figure out or didn't buy in the big why. Okay, and then if we have the alignment in-house, and then we start to think about, hey, how to build the authentic personalization, as Shannon's mentioned. Hope this email finds you well. That is not personalization, okay? So, and that is something ChatGPT is very good at. So the authentic personalization, I think this is related to what is the value, mission, and also vision of your organization, and what you are very proud of your company and also yourself, and make it very authentic, right? And think about the job. It's not only an opportunity, it's more as a special product every company is creating. Recruiters. And we are the best go-to-market professional to sell that product. That is a special product. So if that product, right, that job is just so common, just another opportunity, so then you won't have a good product to sell, okay? So it's a special product. You got to sell, right? So, and to sell a special product, you need to have a special message, okay? That is so authentic and that is so personalized, right? So, I mean, the special massage, that's a very authentic. So, promise, I won't send that to the candidates, okay? So, my vocabulary is much better now, okay? So, the third one is very, very critical. We got to measure and then improve, okay? So, we need to show the success metrics and the benchmark so that we know what is good, what is bad, what is ugly. But unfortunately, this is just something we figured out from the survey. 50% of the TA professionals can't track the engagement metrics, okay? And some of the were related to the process, and some of them were related to the technology they deployed. Okay, very complicated, but overall, half of the TA teams, they cannot track those metrics. If we cannot measure, we cannot improve. And most importantly, if we cannot reward the great performance, and how can we be motivated? Right? So this is the playbook. And then you may think, hey, if I have the playbook, then that's enough. No, far away from being enough. And we have two constraints very clear today in the market, okay? In almost every TA team. First, you have a resource constraint, right? So, and more with less, right? And less is more. This is a very common, right? And you probably convinced or persuaded by your CFO, CEO, COO, and that's their favorite words now, and including myself, by the way. Okay, so I'm not a victim, so I feel guilty sometimes. So that's a resource constraint, and also we have a really clunky systems here and there, everywhere. Okay, so don't trust me that much, and listen to what our friend at Wilson HCT and what they say. Greg, and he told us, by the way, in a recent case study we released with Wilson HCT. So recruiters have consistently seen their requisition loads increase, okay, but their resource didn't, right? So this is a really challenging for almost every recruiter, say, because on one hand, you need to be more authentic and personalized, right, for the message and for the process, for the practice. But on the other hand, we don't have resource, right? And a lot of problem, we have too many tools, and those tools, they don't talk to each other. And sometimes they talk, but most cases they don't. And also what's worse is that everyone wants to be all in one, okay? And it's hard to connect and hard to implement, and even implement and the box here and there, right? So, okay, so by the way, and there are several vendors sitting here, okay? So if you are in charge of engineering work, heads down and feel guilty, okay? So clunky systems. But the technology, what is essential, and we have to look at what technology should build, and what technology, and what requirements we should put on the technology you are going to deploy or you deployed already. Okay. So first of all, contextual and customized messaging. So the engagement technology or product, and they should be able to do that. Right? And the AI has been a very big thing, and every vendor, by the way, including hireEZ, we released the AI feature, okay? And we released half a year ago in March, right? Probably in our space, we were the first one. And then we saw a lot of the news, right, and PRs in our space. I think overall, it's still, there's no breakthrough. And it's still more like OpenAI's wrapper, okay? So pretty good at a certain level of customization, right? But we definitely need to dive into more and to make the technology and the engagement product to do the customization and personalization better, okay? And the good thing is that 60% of the companies have increased in the investment in the automation. I think with those investments and those dedications, technology will advance, and we will soon see more breakthroughs in talent acquisition space. Okay. So the second essential part, is must be recruiter friendly. Must be recruiter friendly, and this is the very common mistake we observed. And the simple reason is that all the technology and the product were created and will be created by engineers, not by recruiters. Am I right? Yeah? So, in a lot of them, they are not built by recruiters and they are not for recruiters. Okay. Let me give you one key example. To have a very effective engagement, the technology must read very holistic activity information in the history record. Okay, but how many of you deploy a system that can consolidate and centralize those data in one place? That's the basic requirement for CRM, by the way. Right? What is a CRM? CRM's number one requirement is to centralize those activity data and also profile data into one place to build the data foundation. We didn't have it. Right? So you have no way to look up the history information clearly. Right? So for example, hey, what recruiters did on hireEZ to engage and to find and engage with this candidates, and what recruiters did on LinkedIn to do the same, right? And also how these candidates came to your career site and how to apply, and all those contextual information and how to consolidate them into one place. It's hard, right? So recruiter friendly. Third, result driven and trackable. Right? And we have to let the data drive the performance and drive the practice, and we iterate the practice again and again. Right? So data driven is the key. Alright, so if we look at the playbook and technology, actually there is a flywheel behind. There is a flywheel. We have the engagement playbook, and that will give the clear sights and clear scope about what technology you are going to use. Okay, you are going to deploy and use. And then the better technology adoption will further iterate the playbook and tell what's good and what can be better. Right? And so there's a flywheel which just help each other again and again. Right? And we at hireEZ also have a pretty clear proposal for the talent acquisition teams about what should be the tech stack to support a candidate engagement. First of all, again, we have to build the data foundation. The data we call talent fusion. Okay, the data we should connect the essential systems and then fabric data into one place. Okay, by the way, it's not easy. It's so challenging. Right, so we put a lot of efforts on understanding how systems can talk with each other. Okay, through API, through RPA, through manual import, export, many ways. It's not easy. And the second part is to build the base, right? And that's a very commonly described as a CRM. The CRM system should help employers keep the profiles up to date, track the every interaction information, okay, and also manage the time pool. Of course, also make the collaboration effective. So that's the base. And on top of this base, we can plug in a lot of recruiting tools as an add-on, right? So sourcing tools, right? And you need an open web search so that one search can pull data from many, many places, right? So that's a sourcing, and you also need to have the data insights to see the market insights, the competitive landscape. And all of them can be put on top, right? And plug in as an add-on function. And also, more importantly, it should be AI-powered recruiting platform. Okay. If we create a gigantic system, overcomplicated, and we require recruiters to do this and that to maintain the system, and that violates the purpose. The purpose is to make them have a better productivity and better candidate engagement. But at the end, probably 80% of the time will be on the manual work or repetitive work, tedious work on managing and building those systems. That's not a purpose. That's absolutely not an original purpose. Okay, so the AI should play a very critical role here. So for instance, the data centralization, the data fusion, it shouldn't be manual work, okay? And it should leverage a lot of great AI technology to do it. Right? And also the search, match, ranking, recommendation. So those are very typical applications for AI technologies, and we should make it more automated, smarter, okay? And the workflow automation itself, and a lot of long decision-making points, we probably need to train the AI to do the automation better. Right? So this is hireEZ's proposal for candidate engagement. It's a tech stack and product stack. But is it all? No. We have a playbook. We have a technology. But we miss one thing. And I think this is the most critical one. Right? So the other day, our friend at Seattle Talent, Rebecca, so she told me, hey Steven, technology is the easiest part. The difficult part is a change management. That is so true. Right? Are we lack of a lot of solution? No. Go to the exhibit hall, you see so many logos. We are not lack of solutions in my view. Okay, a lot of solutions, and even some technologies are not perfect, right? And nothing is perfect. So, but I think the technology space is advancing. But then, the critical thing that will disrupt the evolution is the change management. Okay, so this is something we also learned from research. This is very typical. Okay, typical example. They had a pretty hard time on switching from LinkedIn to hireEZ. Okay, so recruiters complained. I find people and engage with them on LinkedIn every day, and you are telling me I can't search a message there anymore. Right? They fight it back a lot. But eventually, right, after a lot of efforts, the teamwork, now that the change management is done. Okay. So this is a very clear and typical example of a change management. Not only this case, in a candidate relationship, the candidate engagement, and overall the talent pool management, and also the collaborations among hiring managers and recruiters, a lot of those processes. Change management is a big problem. Okay, so then the whole picture, I think we missed one very essential and centric part, that is people. We still need to put recruiters, hiring managers, right? Probably mostly recruiters, put it in people. And the whole playbook and technology will start to become reasonable, logical, and start to make sense. Right? So that's how we look at candidate engagement, playbook, technology, and people. Thank you very much.